did get a little bit of sponge, and we'll save that for last. You guys can get a chance to break that apart a little bit and see if there's some critters living out in there. But what I'd like to do now is go over sort of our mascot here at Rookery Bay. These guys are called polka dot batfish, B-A-T. And these are fish that most people don't ever get a chance to see live, but they're all over the place back here. We catch them almost every trawl. These you're not typically going to catch on normal hook and line tackle. Sometimes people catch them, but not very often. These guys are sort of our mascots because they are very unusual fish, but we see them almost all the time when we're doing the trawls out here. These are highly adapted fish. What are some clues about how this fish makes its living? What are some clues about where this animal lives? Let's practice some of those skills we just learned.
It's got to be the bottom. Yeah.
Okay, its fins are modified to work like feet. Okay. So where might this fish live? On the bottom. Okay. And what are some other clues that this fish lives on the bottom besides the modified fins? Okay, the mouth is on the underside. That's a real good clue that this fish lives on the bottom, or at least feeds on the bottom.
And he looks like he digs with his motion.
And the flatness.
They're flat. Okay, that's a very good clue that this fish lives on the bottom. It's lumpy looking, so it looks like rocks and structures. These are all good clues that the animal lives on the bottom. It's brown. You know, the bottom is brown. That's a good clue. So ours have a little bit of orange on their backs, so they might have been living near sponges or something like that. These guys can change their colors to match their surroundings a bit. But these are highly modified animals. They're in the same family as anglerfish. They're in the anglerfish family, which means they have a lure that they use to try to attract food towards their mouth. And I'll show you that in a second. But what I'd like to do first is turn one of these guys upside down and show you how they work. These are the pelvic fins, these two fins right here, and these are highly modified. And here's the anal fin. These three fins work like a tripod to support this fish's weight up off the bottom its entire life. And because it's supporting its weight off the bottom, and because they're constantly in contact with the bottom, these fins are very thick and very padded. So go ahead and just feel how thick and padded they are compared to the pectoral fins, which are the swimming or sort of walking fins. And you can feel the belly. It feels sort of like wet sandpaper.
Oh yeah, that's pretty wild.
He doesn't seem to mind you doing that, does he?
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
This one's trained. He catches it every time.
So these guys have, the back feels very different than the belly. They have what are called bucklers and tubercles. They're modified scales on the back. And they're called polka dot batfish because they have all these little spots on their back.
He's trying to eat something.
No, he's trying to swim away.
Oh, is that what that is?
So, also, if you notice between the fins here, he's got a couple of little pores that open up. And you see how the water's pushing through there? So, the gills are actually located up in the head. It pulls water through its mouth, across the gills, which are located up here, and pushes the water back here behind him. A lot of people guess that's for propulsion, but I don't think so. I think instead, because these guys are bottom feeders, if they had big quirky gill covers, they might be stirring up a lot of sand and a lot of mud, which by pushing the water back there behind you, you're keeping that sediment away from your gills, and also you're avoiding what I call the pig pen effect. You guys remember Pigpen from the old Peanuts cartoon, walking around with that cloud of dust around him all the time? If I'm getting too technical here, just let me know. Slow it down a little bit. But yeah, if you don't have a cloud of dust around you, you're going to be harder to see. So by pushing the water back there behind them, probably keeps its vision clear as well, but also makes him harder to see. It does have eyes that are located way up on top of its head, so when it's feeding down towards the bottom, it's going to be able to see a little bit further, but its mouth is protrusible. It shoots forward and down and creates a lot of suction and allows him to slurp up. There we go. So it moves forward and down very quickly and creates a lot of suction and allows him to slurp up his food. Don't drool. He's got little teeth in there that feel like sandpaper. He's not going to bite me, and you notice I was about as gentle as I could be, pulling that mouth open. I don't want to hurt him. I try to show all these critters respect. So just to show you how the mouth works, because just describing it, you don't get a sense for it. So that creates a lot of suction and allows him to slurp up his food. If you notice on top of his head here, he's got a little point. This is called a rostrum. And in between the rostrum and the mouth, there's that little divot. And that's where the lure comes out. And all it takes is the weight of my finger to make that little lure come out. And if this guy's actively feeding, he can wiggle that back and forth quite a bit, flick the top up and down. Very, very active luring mechanism, whereas I'm a clumsy monkey. All I can do is just push it and it just goes out a little bit. If you guys want to try to make the lure work, it doesn't hurt the animal. All it takes is the weight of your finger. Just start with your fingers right in between the eyes and then just slowly bring it back. And literally, all it takes is the weight of your finger and it'll just pop right out. You're pushing way too hard. There you go.
I don't think I was in the right place.
Yep, but all it takes is the weight of your finger like that, and it just pops right out. Anybody else want to check them out? So again, just start with your finger right in between the eyes and just slowly move it back. You're pushing way too hard, way too hard. Just literally, just.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we're right, barely touch it.
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool.
You brought them. All right, so let me flip this one over, because sometimes these guys are both almost the same color. Sometimes we get them and they're red or orange or brown on the belly. What color is the belly on yours? Is it just sort of the peach color? Yeah, okay. These ones aren't very exciting as far as belly color, but a lot of times we'll get them and we can get 3 or 4 different fish and they'll all have different color bellies and we don't know why, but they're all the same fish. And you can't tell the males from the females just by looking at them externally, but there are different different sexes of these. So these are the polka dot batfish, and they spend almost their entire lives on the bottom, and because of that, they don't even produce a swim bladder anymore. Most fish have swim bladders, but because these guys are bottom dwellers, they don't even need it.
So just in the Gulf?
There are many species of batfish, and batfish can be found around the world, basically subtropically in every ocean except for the Mediterranean Sea. And these ones are relatively shallow water batfish, but there are some species that can be found thousands of feet down. And there's a type called a pancake batfish, where these guys are more arrow-shaped. The pancake one is really round and really even weirder looking than these guys, but they're pretty cool. These ones are probably medium size. They can get to be a little bit bigger than this. The polka dot batfish, they're really weird, and everybody was saying, ooh, they're ugly, but they're cool. They're kind of hard to keep happy and healthy in aquariums, because as you can see, they're constantly trying to walk into the side here. We do have a baby one back at the learning center, and the way we keep it happy and healthy is three sides of the tank are all black. And the front has a 3-inch plastic black strip. So every direction that fish looks, there's a black wall. Whereas here, there's transparent walls. And in the wild, they don't have transparent walls. So they're constantly going to be trying to walk through those transparent walls. So by giving it a sense of confinement, they do okay. But these guys are typically loaded with worms. One of the things that they really like to eat are snails. And the snails are intermediate hosts for worms, so these guys, their tissues is loaded with them. Most folks wouldn't want to eat one of these critters, even though there's a lot of muscle in the tail there. So these are the polka dot batfish. They're happy now.
Freedom!
Got to get running back, so if you guys want to, we did get a little bit of sponge. They've got a little bit bigger chunk of sponge. We've got a couple small pieces on here. But if you want to break this apart a little bit, you can find there might be little crabs and little marine worms and things. In this boat, this is a lane snapper. That's a baby lane snapper, just like the other one.